It wasn't the growl that haunts me. It was the silence that followed, and the sound of its nails clicking against the asphalt as it stood up on two legs. You are listening to Nightbound Bloodline. The modern world has edges, places where the light of our understanding grows dim, where the old maps used to simply say, "Here there be monsters." Most of us live our entire lives in the light, never brushing against that primordial darkness. But some wander too close to the edge. What you are about to hear are the first-hand accounts of those individuals. They are mechanics, veterans, nurses, ordinary people whose lives were fractured by the extraordinary. They have asked for their identities to be protected, but they have also asked, begged, for their stories to be heard, to be believed. So listen closely. The first story comes from a man we'll call James. My name is James. I'm 47 years old. I've been a long-haul trucker for over 20 years. I've seen every backroad and midnight stretch of highway from here to the Pacific. I've slept in rest stops that felt like the surface of the moon, quiet and dead. I don't believe in ghost stories. I believe in logbooks, diesel fumes, and the weight of a loaded trailer. I'm the last person you'd ever catch talking about something like this. Or, I was. It was late October 2019. I was on a run through the northern peninsula of Michigan. The kind of country where the trees press right up against the road, a wall of blackness on either side. My rig had thrown a warning light, something electrical. I found a place to pull over, not a proper rest stop, just a wide gravel turnout carved out of the woods. It was past 2 a.m. The world was asleep. You know the silence out there. It's not peaceful. It's a heavy, listening silence. I got out with my flashlight, the beam cutting a shaky tunnel through the mist that was coiling up from the damp earth. The air smelled of pine needles and cold, wet decay. I popped the hood, started poking around, just me and the ticking of the hot engine block. That's when I heard the first branch snap. It was deep in the woods to my right. A sharp crack, like something substantial stepping on deadfall. I swung my light toward it. Nothing. Just a million black tree trunks fading into nothing. I shrugged it off. Deer, maybe. I went back to the engine. A minute later, another snap. Closer. Then another, to my left this time. My neck prickled. It wasn't the random wandering of an animal. It felt deliberate, like a pincer movement. I shut the hood, the sound echoing way too loud. And that's when the true silence hit. All the crickets, the little night noises, they just stopped, like someone threw a switch. My flashlight beam started to shake. I wasn't alone out there anymore, and whatever was with me, the woods were afraid of it. I decided to get back in the cab, lock the doors. As I turned, my light swept across the tree line about 50 yards ahead, and I saw him, standing at the edge of the gravel, perfectly still. My brain short-circuited. It was on two legs, like a man, but it was all wrong. It had to be 8 feet tall, shoulders hunched, powerful. It was covered in a ragged, dark fur, kind of gray-brown like wet bark. But its head, God, its head was canine. Like a wolf, but bigger. The snout was long, but the eyes, they weren't animal eyes. They caught my flashlight beam and reflected back a sickly, intelligent yellow-green. They weren't mindless. They were calculating, watching me. Its arms were too long, hanging past its knees, ending in hands, paws, with fingers that curled, tipped with dark claws. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a man in a suit. It was something that shouldn't exist, standing there at the border of my world and its own. We stood there, frozen in that beam of light for what felt like an hour. It didn't snarl. It didn't hunch down to run. It just stared. Then, slow as a glacier, it tilted its head. The movement was so unnervingly human, like it was studying a curious insect. That broke the spell. I fumbled for the door handle, my fingers numb, and threw myself into the cab. I slammed the lock down, heart hammering against my ribs. I couldn't breathe. I jammed the key, started the engine. The roar was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. I threw it into gear, my eyes glued to the spot in my headlights. It was gone, just empty gravel. A wave of sick relief washed over me. I pulled out onto the road, my hands vibrating on the wheel. That's when I saw it in my side mirror. It was loping alongside the tree line, keeping pace with the truck. Not running full out, just this easy, powerful gallop on all fours. It moved like liquid shadow, flowing over the ground. I pushed the gas pedal down. The truck groaned, picking up speed. 40, 50. It kept pace. At 60, I risked another glance. It was back on two legs now, sprinting between the trees with this impossible, lanky grace. And then it stopped. It planted itself in the middle of the road behind me, shrinking in my mirror. I watched it throw its head back, and I heard it. Not a howl, a roar, a deep, chest-ripping sound that was part wolf, part something infinitely older, that cut through the engine noise and the cab and vibrated in my bones. It wasn't a cry of hunger. It was a statement, a territory marker, and I was in it. I drove until dawn, shaking so hard I had to pull over twice. I didn't sleep for days. Every shadow in the corner of my eye was wrong. I told my dispatcher I was sick. I couldn't go back on that route. I still drive, but I won't take loads through that part of the country anymore. I plan my routes to avoid deep, old forests at night. You might think I'm crazy, a stressed out trucker seeing things, but I know what I saw. It was as real as this steering wheel in my hands. I was a practical man. Now I know there are things in the dark that don't care about our rules, our roads, our reality. And sometimes they look back. James's account is chilling not just for the sighting, but for the predatory intelligence it displayed. The stalking, the pacing, the display of dominance. It suggests a mind behind those eyes. Our next story comes from a different environment entirely, but the creature seems to be the same. My name is Sarah. I'm 38, a registered nurse from Ohio. My job is about evidence, symptoms, logical processes. I deal in blood pressure readings and chart notes, not folklore. Before this, the scariest thing in my world was a missed force stick. My husband, Mark, and I were camping in the Hocking Hills region. It was our anniversary trip, a little cabin off the grid. We're both outdoorsy, experienced, or so we thought. The first day was perfect. Sunny, crisp autumn air. But the second night, a fog rolled in, thick, cold, and silent. It swallowed the trees around our cabin hole. We built a fire in the pit, but the flames just seemed to get lost in the white, lighting up a tiny dome around us. The world beyond was a blank wall. We started hearing noises, not owls or coyotes. This was a low, rhythmic thumping, like something heavy was being struck against a tree trunk, deep in the murk. Thump, thump, thump. Then it would stop. then start again from a different direction. Mark joked it was a woodpecker on steroids. I didn't laugh. We went inside, locked up. The thumping followed us. It seemed to circle the cabin. Then, we heard the scratching. Not at the door, on the roof. Long, slow drags of something sharp over the shingles. Right above our bedroom. We froze in our bed, holding our breath. The scratching stopped, and then a smell seeped in through the walls. It was musky, like a wet dog that had rolled in something dead, mixed with a coppery tang, like old blood. It was so strong it made my eyes water. That's when the fear turned real. This wasn't a raccoon. This wasn't our imagination. Mark, God bless him, grabbed his hunting flashlight, a 1,000-lumen beast, and went to the front window. He peeled back the curtain a fraction. I was behind him. He clicked the light on, pointing it into the fog. The beam didn't penetrate far, but it caught the silhouette. It was standing at the tree line, maybe 30 feet away, standing upright. The fog swirled around its legs, making it look like it was rising out of the ground. It was massive, broad-shouldered. The light glinted off 2 points of amber in the shadow where its face should be. And then it stepped forward, just one step, into the edge of the light. The fur was a matted, dirty gray. The arms, they were too long. And its head was a nightmare silhouette of a wolf, but with a shorter, blunter muzzle. It opened its mouth. I didn't hear a sound, but I saw its breath plume in the cold air. And I saw the teeth. It didn't charge. It just stood there, in that one step, as if showing itself was enough. Then it raised one of those long arms. Not in threat. It pointed. A single, thick finger extended, and it pointed directly at the window. Directly at us. My blood turned to ice. This wasn't a random animal encounter. It saw us. It knew we were in here. It was announcing its presence. Mark dropped the curtain, and we stumbled back. We heard it then, a sound I can only describe as a chuckle. A wet, guttural huff-huff-huff that vibrated through the cabin walls. Then, heavy footsteps crunched around the side of the cabin, slow and deliberate. It was circling, testing. We heard a low growl by the back door, a testing push against the wood. The door held, but the message was clear. It could get in if it wanted to. We spent the night huddled in the center of the living room floor, backs to each other, a kitchen knife in my hand, Mark with a fireplace poker. We didn't sleep a wink. The noises came and went, scraping, thumping, that terrible smell. At first light, the sound stopped. The fog began to thin. We waited another 2 hours, then ran for the car like scared children, leaving everything behind. We didn't report it. What would we say? We never went back for our gear. I still startle at foggy nights. I can't look at the woods behind our suburban house without feeling a cold dread. I'm a nurse. I believe in science. But science has no box to put that thing in. It was intelligent. It was cruel. And it knew exactly what it was doing to us. 2 witnesses, hundreds of miles apart. A long-haul trucker and a medical professional. Different backgrounds, the same profound horror. James and Sarah's stories echo hundreds of others from across North America and beyond. Reports of a creature that walks the line between wolf and man, possessing a cunning that chills the blood. These are not mere animal attacks. They are interactions, displays of a predatory awareness that sees us not just as food, but as subjects, as trespassers. The dogman, as it's come to be known, doesn't fit. It shreds our comfortable taxonomy. Is it a remnant, a thing from a time when the woods were deeper and the shadows held different shapes? Or is it something else, something that has always watched from the edge of the firelight? These accounts suggest a creature that understands territory, intimidation, and the profound power of fear. It doesn't just hunt bodies, it hunts peace of mind. These stories remind us that the world is not a fully lit room. There are still corners, vast and deep, where the light fails and older rules apply, where the line between the animal and the something more grows terrifyingly thin. If you have wandered close to the edge, if you have a story of your own that lingers in the back of your mind on dark nights, we invite you to share it in the comments below. You are not alone. If you want to hear more true accounts from the edge of the map, please like this video, subscribe to Nightbound Bloodline, and hit the bell so you never miss a story. Thank you for listening. This has been Nightbound Bloodline. Until next time, sleep with one eye open.